Namaskar, Adab, Salam, Vadakam, Sat Sri Akal. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to talk about DMart, which is one of India's largest retail chain operators. So guys, when you look at the store expansion part, just look at the number of stores back in FY13. It was close to 55 stores, and the total number of stores today stand at how many? 324. So of this expansion, a much of a chunk has come from southern region. If you look at the numbers, southern region used to account for just about 8 stores back in FY18. It's 113 now. So a crazy expansion has happened out here, while west has grown almost 3x, and central and northern India are very small parts. There is expansion happening, but very nascent stages, basically where south used to be back in FY18 or something like that. Meanwhile, when it comes to East India, there is no presence at all. We talk of West Bengal, Assam, or whichever state, there is no presence of DMart yet. And that is the reason why DMart promoters or the management basically feel that they have the potential to grow to a size of 1500 stores pan India eventually. So that is the potential out there. But of these stores, let us try to understand if it is coming out in every state in these regions, or is there certain skew out there. So when we talk of the western region, the store expansion or the presence is all about Gujarat and Maharashtra, and it's very clear that Maharashtra has grown almost 2.5x over the years, while Gujarat has grown over 3x or probably 3.5x in terms of number of stores, and that is also visible in the share of stores out there. Not much to see out here, but when we talk of the southern region, just look at the numbers. So the presence was all about basically Telangana and Karnataka out there, right? And Telangana today accounts for 36 stores. In fact, all the four states now have near good proportion of stores. There is no real skew out there that okay, this particular state accounts for most of the stores, and that is it. So a very healthy proportion as well as very rapid growth across states, be it Telangana, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, all Tamil Nadu. Meanwhile, when it comes to Kerala, there is no presence so far. That is what we get to see out here. But when we talk of the rest of India, basically there is no presence in the east, as we just talked about it. But when we talk about central and northern India, there too the presence is limited to just about 5 states. It's basically Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Punjab, NCR region and Chhattisgarh. So that is all. So there remains a lot of part of the northern and central India particularly. Central India is still covered, but when we talk of northern India, much of the states remain untouched right now. Same as eastern India or northeastern India. That is what to get a takeaway out here. But when we talk of all these stores, what is the business that they deliver? So just look at the revenue numbers for each of the 3 main categories that the business runs across. It's about food, non-food and merchandise and apparel. So when we talk of the food category, fantabulous growth numbers across the years. Year on year numbers are pretty beautiful to look at. You can pretty well see out here. Same for merchandise, it has grown almost 3.5x or something like that. Same for non-food category, it has grown almost you can say 4x or something like that, right? So the numbers are very beautiful and very pleasing to look at if we look at the revenue metrics particularly. And even if we talk about category wise growth numbers, just look at these numbers. Each of the category has a growth rate of between 25 to 40% year on year. If we give a miss to this particular COVID year particularly, and even in the COVID year, the food category for the business maintained a 6% growth. So very beautiful numbers that are panning out. Growth numbers are very high and very consistent across categories. That is the key takeaway out here. But look at this green shoot out here. This really matters. Why? Because this is basically being delivered by non-food category, which is a very high margin business. So if there is very good shoot up out here, it directly increases the profit margins and your profit after tax, EBITDA, whatever you call it. So that is a big positive to see out here. Meanwhile, when we talk about overall numbers, just look at these numbers. The overall business, we can divide it into 2 different segments. One is like for like growth, that is for the stores which have been around for at least 2 years, and overall growth of the business. So when we talk about like for like stores that have been around for 2 years or more, the growth has been majorly between 14-15% to 25% in that range, right? It is pretty much clear out here that the like for like store growth is between 15 to 25% in general. But when we talk about overall business growth, it is much higher. That kind of indicates that okay, the new stores that the business is adding do not probably take that much time to gain maturity or reach a sizable amount of sales. They pretty much get to high sales very quickly. That is what the key takeaway out here is. Otherwise, in most cases, what we get to learn is that new stores take a much longer time to get to maturity. And that is why like for like becomes a very important metric. Out here, I guess the main metric is the overall revenue and not the like for like numbers, probably. So that is one major takeaway for me out here. Now, when we talk about the average store size, because this sale is being clearly driven sizably by the new stores being added. That is what we just saw in the previous slide, right? So there is one very beautiful thing about these new stores. So the average store size of a DMart store has grown consistently from about 28k to about 41k. Very pretty growth. So the average store size is higher now. But look at the store size of the new stores being added each year. It used to be about the same size as the average store before, but now it's almost 50,000 square feet. So what we learn is that the companies, all the new outlets, all the new stores being added are almost 40% or 60% larger than the older stores. And where does it yield the benefits? Well, there are two major ways. One is the total number of bills cut. Why? Because the stores can now house a lot more commodities, lot more items. It also attracts a lot more audiences. And when more people come, more bills are cut, and hence more business happens. Number one. Secondly, the average bill size also goes up, because for any person coming to the DMart store, he has now much wider options to buy from, much larger set of SKUs or items to purchase and take back home. And thus the average order values has also gone up. So you can see that as they began to open stores that were significantly bigger, their average order values or average bill value has also gone up to 1600 range or something like that. And it was constantly rising anyways, but there has been significant growth ever since they significantly raised their average store size. The numbers completely add up out here. So these are the two main benefits of the same. But this also comes along with a risk that if you are opening a very large store and you're going to stack it up with a lot of inventory, there is a risk if you're not able to sell that inventory, all those goods, then what happens? There are going to be losses. But the company has been able to manage that part very beautifully. So this is the inventory turnover ratio. In very simple layman terms, you can take it as if you spend say X rupees on your inventory at any given time on an average, and your overall revenues are say Y, then Y by X is your inventory turnover ratio. Now just look at these numbers. It has been 15 more or less, 14 and 15. It has been in that range, except for 2 years where it basically fell because of COVID, because not a lot of people were still going out to shop in certain months at least. But otherwise they have maintained the ratio throughout despite adding larger and larger stores. What that means is that a 14.8 ratio for 12-month period means that basically a company is able to sell an average piece of item in its inventory within 24 days. And thus, for an average inventory size, it is able to do 15 rounds of that much sale. And that is how you get your revenue. So a very high inventory turnover ratio is the secret to ensuring that you don't end up in losses when you stack up a lot of inventory in large stores. And that is something is very commendable for DMart. And it all adds up to beautiful margin numbers. Now look at the EBITDA margin. It used to be around 7%, has grown to almost 9% over the years. So all these things, larger stores, more people coming out and shopping, average bill size going up, and all of this while maintaining a high turnover ratio, it has yielded in higher income per square feet of area, and hence higher income for every piece of fixed expenses, and that is leading to higher EBITDA margins. But look at the PAT numbers, that is profit after tax. It has grown from almost 3% to 6.1%. It has doubled, even as EBITDA margins have not. So there is one key point to take away out here, that probably all the gains in profit after tax is not because of margin improvement alone in business. It can also be about accounting changes or tax benefits that the company may be getting, or the reduction in corporate tax in recent times that is yielding benefits out here. It can be a factor of those things as well, because if the margins at operational level did not increase that much, there is no real reason for a 2x growth in PAT margin, given this is a company which also does not have much of a debt. There is no real debt out here. So that is a big observation out here, that the profit margins are increasing not just because of operational better performance, but also because of other factors like lower corporate income tax or accounting practices. That is something to be kept in mind. But those are the business metrics, right? The company has paid a very special attention to ESG metrics because they know that the major big institutional investors give a lot of importance to environmental, social, governance related matters. So just look at this particular slide. For environment particularly, to attract those investors who are very much focused on environmental friendly companies, this company has been focusing on ensuring that all the new outlets that it opens are green building certified. Basically, they will use better or environmental friendly bricks, that is ACC bricks, concrete bricks, or they will be using environmental friendly water treatment plants on every single store and all of those kind of things. They'll be installing solar panels, for example. So those things are ensuring that from 27 new additions in FY18, 152 of its stores today boast of the green building certificate. So almost half the stores, close to 45% of them. So that is one big positive as far as ESG particularly is concerned. Now look at the number of stores which also boast of solar sites, that is solar power generation. It has grown from 30 stores in FY18 to 145 stores in FY22. And similarly, when we talk of total amount of solar energy generation capacity above these stores, it has grown from 2.5 megawatt manifold over to 17.5 megawatt. Let us be very clear, the FY23 numbers, that is the latest year numbers, are not present out here because the company is yet to disclose those numbers. But overall, we can clearly see that the company is really paying attention to its ESG related metrics because it is very serious about it to ensure that the institutional investors must find it attractive on the ESG terms as well. So that is the entire business analysis for today. I hope you liked it. The key takeaways are there for you. This is a very high turnover business being operated out here. They are adding more and more higher average store size stores, and they are ensuring that the average bill size goes up and sales go up across three categories. So there is no skew in the business right now. The only major thing to note out here is that their expansion plans are highly skewed, limited to a certain states in every single region, except the southern part where more growth is more equitable right now. And thus there is a lot of room for the company to go and add new stores and expand. But it takes time because DMart is one such company which generally buys land and builds its stores. So that is the entire analysis for today. If you guys liked it, do like the video, do subscribe to the channel. We bring out such videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday for you. Thank you. Bye.